To talk more about this bill and the price tag, I want to bring in the Real America's Voice panel for today. We have the president of Americans for Limited Government, Rick Manning, and the founder of Patriot Academy, Rick Green. I will start with Rick Manning. Rick, what do you make of that comment you just heard?
Well, basically, accountants can make anything say whatever they want it to say. And so you could take this bill and say, oh, we're only going to do the first 5 years and we'll cut it to $2 trillion. But that doesn't mean that the rest doesn't pay. You don't end up paying for the rest of it the next 5 years. So that's kind of what she's talking about there, is just by changing the name of how long it's supposed to happen, they changed the top line number. Bottom line is, when you look at how they're planning on spending this bill, it is dramatically front loaded. They're going to spend most of the money in the next 3 years. And the reason for that is because they know that when the Republicans get the presidency, the Republicans have control of both the House and the Senate, they can use budget reconciliation to rip this out by the roots. And so they want to get as much spending done as possible, as early as possible.
Yeah, spend early, spend often, because they know they're losing their grip. The brand new Rasmussen poll, 58% disapprove, only 40% approve. It's an 18-point hole, and the hole is getting bigger. Rick Green, what do you make of it?
Well, Steve, I don't know where you got that poll. I mean, Nancy Pelosi told us that everyone agrees with the president's vision. So I don't know what you're talking about there. I mean, maybe we're just all stuck on the fact that Captain Kirk is going into space. That's the coolest thing I've heard in a long time. Listen, I certainly don't agree with his vision. I don't think you agree. I know Rick Manning doesn't agree with the president's vision. This whole bill, I mean, this whole idea of a social infrastructure bill, completely unconstitutional. Show me in the Constitution, anywhere in Article 1, Section 8, that there's any authority for the government to be doing any of these things, except maybe hiring the new IRS agents, which, of course, the American people obviously aren't afraid of their government enough, so we're going to go get 80,000 more agents to harass us. It's insanity. But for them to say that everyone agrees with this, or as you enjoyed poking fun at the CNN commentator, that we're not really spending money if it gets paid for. I wish I could convince, my bank and my creditors of that. Insanity.
Right. If I have a job and make money, it doesn't cost anything. What?
Yeah. It's crazy.
By the way, President Biden on the 25th, he tweeted out, "My Build Back Better agenda costs $0. Recreational marijuana, it's not just for breakfast anymore. Here's the other thing. The Biden administration is still playing up the whipping story, the completely false story, demonizing Border Patrol agents who are riding horses, saying they're going to pay. Rick Manning, come on. This is a gut-wrenching story. Everybody who's ever been on a horse, seen a horse, left the concrete for 15 seconds knows this is a bogus story, and yet they keep trying to push it, attacking their own administration for its failures. Your thoughts?
Well, it's outrageous. It really angers me. We've got people on the border risking their lives. We're saving children, saving women who are being abandoned along the border in desperate condition, and they're saving lives every single day of people who are illegally trying to cross our border. And for them to be demonized by this president, by this White House, is an absolute dereliction of the president's duty. He just as he abandoned our soldiers in Kabul and let them die. Just as he abandoned American citizens in Kabul and letting them die, he's abandoning our border patrol and letting people pour across the border. In the last 2 months, we've had enough people. We've had over 450,000 people come across this border illegally, and that's enough to fill a major U.S. city.
Yeah, it's unconscionable that these guys are being attacked, Rick Green, because they're down there doing their job, and all they're doing is running horses back up and down the shore there. On the banks of the river to make sure that people don't come across. That's it. That's all they were doing. That's why horses are used for crowd control. They're big and intimidating. They don't bark and they don't bite, but they're intimidating. I'll give you the last word.
I'm with Rick. It angers me. Look, these guys and gals are incredibly frustrated. In fact, not just frustrated, they're heartbroken because, number one, they're not getting to do what they were called to do, what their mission in life is, what their purpose is. They're not able to even do their actual job. I mean, think if you were a teacher and you could only stand in front of the classroom and not actually teach. You just had to watch the kids sit there, not actually do the job you were called to, that you were passionate about. But with these Border Patrol agents, we're not talking about just education. We're talking about life or death. They know that there are kids being put into child sex trafficking. They know that women are being raped as they're brought across that border and brought into this horrible humanitarian situation. They know that's happening. and yet this president is preventing them from doing their job, and then turn around and demonize them on an absolutely false story, even the photographer himself saying that it was a false story and that he hasn't seen any of that kind of abuse or anything like that from these agents on these horses. So I agree with Rick. I am angry about this. The American people need to be angry about this. This president is shame, shame, shame on him. You know, the Bible has a verse about they get to the point where they just know no shame. They don't show any shame. That's how this president is right now.
Attacking the border agents on horseback for doing what? Their jobs. Gentlemen, Rick and Rick, thank you so much for being here. We'll have the Rick and Rick show another time soon, I'm sure about that. Quick break here in America's Voice Live. I'll be right back.